Hello, I'm John Richards from Paladin Cloud, and today we're talking about the Center for Internet Security's AWS Foundation's benchmark. We're looking at ensure S3 bucket policy is set to deny HTTP requests. This recommendation covers Amazon's simple storage service, more commonly known as an S3 bucket. CIS describes this recommendation as, at the Amazon S3 bucket level, you can configure permissions through a bucket policy, making the objects accessible only through HTTPS. So why would we do this? The rationale is, by default, Amazon S3 allows both HTTP and HTTPS requests. To achieve only allowing access to Amazon S3 objects through HTTPS, you also have to explicitly deny access to HTTP requests. Bucket policies that allow HTTPS requests without explicitly denying HTTP requests will not comply with this recommendation. This recommendation is about ensuring that as our data travels from the S3 bucket to its destination, it is encrypted along the way. The S in HTTPS stands for secure and refers to the fact that instead of the data being transferred in plain text, it is encrypted. With encryption, even if a malicious actor is able to monitor our data as it's being transmitted, it will be unreadable. We have a policy within Paladin Cloud called Deny HTTP Requests to S3 Bucket that monitors the configuration settings for this CIS recommendation. Paladin Cloud is an open source, security as code policy engine that monitors your cloud environment for misconfigurations. Deny HTTP Request to S3 Bucket is a security policy that checks AWS S3 buckets to verify they deny HTTP traffic requests. Because of the risk that unencrypted data poses in the wrong hands, we classify this as a high severity issue, just one step below critical. Let's look at auditing this setting. First, we're going to do it via the AWS console. We're going to go to the section for S3 and look at our S3 buckets. We want to check the permissions section and find the setting for our bucket policy. We need to verify that we have a policy set to deny access on the condition that secure transport is set to false. Here's what that should look like. Okay, let's take a look at checking this via the command line now. AWS offers up Cloud Shell for running CLI commands right from the browser. We'll run a command to list all the AWS S3 buckets that we have. Then let's run a command to check the policy on our service. Now we need to pass in the name of our S3 bucket, which we can copy from up above. And we can use a grep command to target only secure transport policies. We want to verify the return policy is denying all access when secure transport is false. Now let's say no policy was returned. How can we remediate this? Let's go back to the bucket policy under permissions. We'll clear it out to represent a bucket with no policies. We'll then add a new statement to help us be sure that we get the syntax right. Now I'll paste in the section to deny access. The SID is the statement ID. We can leave it blank or name it something to help us remember what the statement does. We have deny set for all requests that come in. We do need to specify this bucket, so let's drop in our bucket name, helpfully listed up above. The conditional is in place to fire our deny effect anytime secure transport is set to false, so all we need to do is hit save. Now, if you use infrastructure as code, you may have built this S3 bucket using Terraform or CloudFormation. In that case, you'll want to modify the script so the problem isn't replicated on the next deployment. To avoid misconfigurations like this, consider using Paladin Cloud. Paladin Cloud runs policies across assets. Those assets are easily broken up into custom asset groups based on things like account, cloud provider, and tagging. Since we're working with S3 buckets, I'll scope this to just AWS. And here we can see the Paladin Cloud dashboard where we can look at metrics like criticality, category, and quantity of violations. Now earlier we learned that deny HTTP requests to S3 bucket is a high priority violation, so that would fall in this section. Now we're in compliance with this policy, so we don't have that violation listed here, but we can double check by looking at a specific asset. We'll go to the distribution page and look at one of our S3 buckets. And here we can see all the policies running against this bucket. We can see that deny HTTP request to S3 bucket passes. Let's pull up that policy and look at the details. Since it will take a while to scroll through all 190 policies, we'll just search for it. Here are the policy details. Paladin Cloud checks every 6 hours to ensure compliance, And we have a link here to the Remediate that'll take us to the documentation to resolve this issue. Now, if this interests you, please check out our free open source repository for Paladin Cloud. Give us a star. We'd also love to hear if you have any questions or feedback. Thank you so much for watching.